Welcome to The Debate. Today, we're looking at a text called The Structured Path to Gradual Liberation. And, reading it, a central question really jumped out at me. Is the path to enlightenment just an engineering problem? I see a blueprint, a really rigid causal machine where you input ethical conduct and the guaranteed output is freedom.
See, I don't see a machine at all. I see a psychological minefield. Because if you follow the logic in this text to its actual conclusion, you're not just tweaking your behavior. You're not following a blueprint. You are, and this is its language, trying to recover a forgotten memory of a state that, well, it barely feels human. The price of admission here isn't just following a few rules. It feels like a complete restructuring of your entire psyche.
I think you're mistaking precision for something punitive. I see a mechanical framework, and it's non-negotiable. Sīla, the whole ethics part, it's not presented as a moral judgment. It's a functional prerequisite. Think of it more like thermodynamics, not theology. The root of the word Sīla is si, which means to cool. It's a cooling system. If you do something unethical, you introduce heat, remorse, into the system. And you just can't meditate with an overheated engine. It's that simple.
Okay, but look at the operating temperature it demands. The author isn't talking about just, feeling a bit better. They draw a very hard line. The goal has to be Anāgāmī or Arahantship. We're talking about a non-returner, someone who reaches a state of clarity where they can never, ever slide back into delusion. That is an incredibly high bar. And the definition of happiness given, it's not joy, it's not pleasure, it's the cessation of seeking. The text explicitly says this state is found in these high-level energetic realms where seeking has physically stopped. That's a non-human frequency.
And that is exactly why the system has to be so robust. That's my point. We have to treat this thing like a diagnostic tool. If you aren't aiming for that non-returner status, that point of no return, then what are you doing? You're just aiming for temporary management of suffering. You're putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. The argument in the text is that honesty, just pure honesty, demands you aim for the complete end of the problem. If you don't set the coordinates for the destination, you're never going to leave the driveway.
The problem is the route it gives you to get out of the driveway. You say it's simple thermodynamics, but the instructions feel paradoxical. We're supposed to reach a state free from seeking, right? But to get there, we're told to use intense, unwavering determination. We have to seek the end of seeking. And the material even admits we've forgotten the way back. So we're essentially amnesiacs trying to reconstruct a memory of a dimension we can't even see. I'm sorry, that isn't engineering. That's a leap of faith across a chasm.
It's not faith, it's a formula. That's what's so compelling about it. You don't have to try to be peaceful. You just input the Sīla, and peace is the inevitable output. It's automatic. The logic is it's undeniable. For a virtuous person, there is no need to use willpower to feel no remorse. It just happens. It's a chain reaction. Sīla leads to non-remorse leads to joy leads to stillness. You don't force the calm. You just stop heating the system up with bad behavior, and it cools down all by itself.
Whoa, wait. Cools down by itself? There is nothing automatic about the input that's required here. The text demands continuous restraint, body, speech, and mind, for the whole day, forever. That implies a state of hypervigilance. You have to be watching every thought, every single micro-intention. That sounds utterly exhausting. You're trading the chaos of the outside world for an intense, lifelong internal policing system. That doesn't sound like cooling to me. That sounds like running the engine at red line just to keep the car on the road.
But it only feels like policing if you're still holding on to the garbage. The method is incredibly specific. You remove the 10 immoral deeds. That's the checklist. You make a firm inner determination that you are done with them. And this verification process, this act of checking your own actions, is what strengthens integrity. It makes the mind lighter because you aren't carrying the heavy baggage of, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
And this is where the theory just completely hits a wall of reality. To verify you've removed those deeds, the text doesn't just ask for a daily check-in. It demands a forensic audit of your entire life, going all the way back to your childhood.
To see the patterns, yes.
To dig up ghosts? Come on. Asking a human being to look back at their childhood to find immoral deeds, even if you say the intention is clear seeing and not guilt, is a dangerous game. That is deep trauma territory. You're asking someone to perform open heart surgery on themselves without anesthesia. You really think that cools the mind? For most people, looking back that far just heats the mind right back up with memory and regret and pain. It risks completely destabilizing the very foundation you're trying to build.
But if you don't look, the heat is still there. That is the entire point. You can't ignore the rot in the foundation and then expect the house to stand. Yes, it's a rigorous cleaning of the past. I grant you that. But without that clarity, without that specific diagnostic review, any meditation you do is just suppression. You're just sitting on top of a volcano pretending it's a mountain. This path aligns with right view because it prioritizes stability over temporary comfort.
Stability is one thing, but this whole process, it feels like an attempt to reclaim a state of existence that, frankly, we might not be wired for anymore. I agree that the cooling concept is beautiful, it's compelling, but the conscious reflection required to get there, the scanning of one's life back to childhood, that is a heavy, heavy burden. You're asking the practitioner to carry the weight of their entire history just to find one moment of silence.
And I would say that weight is already there. This is just the only way to finally set it down. We'll have to leave it there. And for everyone listening, ask yourself, does your definition of happiness require this level of brutal honesty? Or are you content to just keep managing the heat?
Until next time.